They didn't ask any questions. They just put me in cuffs. You don't expect your life to end with a knock. Not like this. Not at midnight. Not with steel flashlights in your face. But that's how it happened. My name is Jalen Price. I'm 28. I've never been in trouble. No felonies. No fights. I stack boxes at a warehouse on the edge of town and go home to microwave dinners and reruns of old crime shows. That night, I was in bed, asleep. The loud knock exploded like gunfire on my front door. I jolted up, heart thundering. The digital clock blinked 12:03 a.m. Then came the voices. Police. Open up. I scrambled to the door, barefoot, confused, still half dreaming. I cracked it open, and before I could speak, boom, they barged in. Guns drawn, flashlights blinding, hands rough. What's going on? What did I do? They didn't answer. They didn't ask any questions. They just put me in cuffs. The squad car was cold. My shirt stuck to my back with sweat. I kept asking what was going on. No one would tell me. Not until we got to the station. And then it hit me like a punch in the ribs. They shoved a folder across the table. A detective leaned forward, voice flat. Alicia Benton, age 24, found strangled behind Mercury Lounge 2 nights ago. You're under arrest for her murder. My mouth went dry. Who? I'd never heard that name in my life. I said out loud, I don't know who that is. Sure you don't, the detective said, smiling like he'd seen it all before. Mercury Lounge. I'd been there. Once. 2 weeks earlier. My buddy's bachelor party. I barely stayed an hour. Didn't drink. Didn't talk to anyone. Now they were saying I killed a woman outside that same club. They show me a grainy photo. CCTV footage. A figure in a hoodie. Broad shoulders. Jeans. Walking fast past the dumpster. That could be anyone, I said. The detective pointed at the timestamp. You were there that night. You fit the bill. And we found your fingerprints on her purse. My head spun. Purse. What purse? I didn't even touch anyone that night. But none of it mattered. They made up their minds. By sunrise, I was booked. Processed like an animal. Mugshot. Fingerprints. Orange jumpsuit. One phone call. I used it to call my mom. She cried. I didn't. I was too stunned to feel anything. Arraignment was a joke. The judge barely looked up. The prosecutor stood tall, smug, rattling off words like flight risk, violent crime, strong forensic evidence. My public defender didn't even fight it. He looked bored, said, "We'll work things out." I whispered, "I didn't do this." He just shrugged. Bail was denied. Just like that, I was locked up. The cell was cold. The light flickered. My bunkmate didn't speak, just stared. I sat on the edge of the cot, heart pounding so loud I could barely hear my own thoughts. I kept going over that night in my head. The club, the noise, the alley out back. Did I brush past someone? Did I drop something? It didn't make sense. Nothing made sense, and no one seemed to care. A guard walked past my cell. I asked for a phone call. He didn't even stop. This wasn't just a mistake. This was a nightmare. A perfect storm of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now I was buried in it. I watched the door close. Solid. Steel. Heavy. The lock clicked. And I finally whispered the truth out loud. More to myself than anyone else. This can't be real. But it was. And it was only the beginning. The hardest part isn't the food or the noise. It's being forgotten. They don't tell you what jail really feels like. They don't talk about the smell, the sweat, the blood, the noise that never stops. Screams echoing down concrete halls like wolves in a cave. But the hardest part isn't the food or the noise. It's being forgotten. You sit there, day after day, as the world moves on without you, and no one comes looking, and nobody cares. My cellmate is a twitchy dude named Red, always pacing, always watching. He told me on day 2, don't trust nobody, not even the guards. He was right. Fights break out for breathing wrong. I got jumped my first week for asking to change the TV channel. Woke up with a busted lip and a lesson carved into my ribs. Keep quiet. Stay small. Try to survive. My job fired me. No call. No email. Just a letter from HR saying I was terminated due to legal complications. My girlfriend Amara visited me once. She walked in, eyes red, voice shaking. I don't understand, Jalen. How could this happen? I said, I didn't do it. She nodded, said she believed me. Then she never came back. Never answered my letters. Never picked up again. It was like I had died. Only my mom remembered me. Let us know where you're watching us from. And if you're enjoying this story, kindly do us a favor and subscribe to our channel. You have nothing to lose, and it will mean the world to us. We're just a small channel trying to grow. Thank you, and back to the video. Sometimes, I close my eyes and try to remember what silence sounds like. Before all this, back when life was simple, when I used to wake up at 6 a.m., lace up my boots, and head to the warehouse. Shift after shift, loading trucks, checking pallets, clocking out tired but proud. Back when I used to stop by my mom's apartment every Friday to bring her groceries. She always made too much food, always hugged me a little too long. Back when I mattered. Now I was just another inmate, another black man behind bars. And the whispers started early. He killed a white girl. They're gonna bury him. I correct them. I didn't kill anyone. Her name was Alicia Benton. I never even met her. Didn't matter. In here, truth dies faster than freedom. Outside, the media had their headline. Black suspect in white victim murder could face life. I saw in the paper. My mugshot, right on the front page. Didn't matter that I had no record. Didn't matter that I worked hard, stayed clean, kept to myself. What mattered was my face. And hers. After 2 months, they finally brought me into a windowless room. DA sitting there, suit sharp, smile sharper. She slid a piece of paper across the table. 15 years. Take the deal, and this ends now. I stared at it. 15 years for something I didn't do. I said, why would I plead guilty to something I had no part in? She shrugged. Because juries believe what they see. And what they'll see is a scared, angry black man who strangled a white woman behind a nightclub. I swallowed hard. There's no evidence. She leaned in, eyes cold. There's just enough. Fingerprints. Camera. Eyewitness who says you were near the scene. It won't take much. And if you lose... She tapped the paper. You'll never see the outside again. I looked her dead in the eyes. Then I'll take my chances. She stood, gathered her file. And just before walking out, she turned back. Then we'll see you in court, where you'll die in that orange jumpsuit. The door slammed behind her. And I sat there alone, heart pounding, still innocent, still unheard, still forgotten. The jury wouldn't look me in the eye. That's when I knew I was already guilty to them. The first day of trial felt like a nightmare in real time. I was sitting there, me, Jalen Price, the innocent one, locked in a cage made of steel bars, surrounded by people who already thought I was guilty. No matter how much I told myself this would end in my favor, I could see the weight of judgment in their eyes. The prosecution wasted no time. The opening statement was a hit-and-run attack on my character. They painted me as a violent man, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. She'll never walk out of that alley alive, the prosecutor said, pointing at a photograph of Alicia Benton's bruised body. But this man, Jalen Price, he's the one who took her life. She described me as reckless and dangerous. She claimed I'd been caught on camera, that the fingerprints on Alicia's purse were incontrovertible proof. They had me walking near the crime scene. They had me guilty. My lawyer, my public defender, fumbled through basic objections. At one point, he looked down his notes for too long, the sound of his page turning echoing louder than his voice. I want to stand up, shake him, scream at him to do something. But I kept quiet. I couldn't risk making it worse. Then, the so-called eyewitness took the stand. She was shaking, but her testimony was firm. She was a woman from the club, claiming she had seen me that night, walking near the alley where Alicia had been found. There was a man. I didn't see his face clearly, but he looked like him, she said, pointing at me. The room fell silent. My chest tightened. I wanted to scream, that's a lie. You don't even know me. But I didn't. Forensics were weak. The DNA evidence wasn't a match. The fingerprints on the purse were questionable at best. But the jury didn't seem to care. They were already looking at me like I was a monster. I felt my hopes slipping, slowly, each second dragging me deeper into the hole I couldn't escape from. During a recess, my mom sat beside me, squeezing my hands so tightly I could feel the warmth of her worry radiating through her fingers. She leaned in, whispering, "God will send someone." I want to believe her. I needed to. But right then, I couldn't see anyone coming. He didn't belong there. Clean suit, steady eyes, like he knew something the rest didn't. Day 3 of the trial. The courtroom smelled like stale air and old wood. Same 12 jurors. Same cold stares. Same hopeless rhythm. But when they brought me in and I sat down at the defendant's table, something felt different. That's when I saw him. Back row. Last seat by the aisle. Dark suit. Clean shave. Calm face. He didn't belong there. Clean suit. Steady eyes, like he knew something the rest didn't. He wasn't with the prosecution. Wasn't media. Wasn't family. Just sitting there. Still. Watching me. I kept glancing back every few minutes. Most people looked away when I turned. But not him. He met my eyes. Direct. Certain. Like he was waiting for something. Or someone. My lawyer noticed and whispered, "You know him?" I shook my head. Never seen him before. Then stopped looking back. "You're making yourself look guilty." I ignored him. I had to look. Because somehow, in the sea of doubt and judgment, that stranger's eyes held something I hadn't seen in weeks. Belief. During recess, they walked me past the crowd toward holding. But the stranger stood up. "Jalen Price," he called. The bailiff snapped to attention. "Sir, you need to stay seated." The man raised both hands peacefully. "I need just 30 seconds. That's all." No contact with the defendant. 2 guards stepped in between us. I strained against the cuffs, trying to catch one more look. "Let him speak," I yelled, but they pulled me away before he could say a word. Back in holding, I sat on the metal bench, heart pounding. Who the hell was he? That night, I didn't sleep. My mind spun in 100 directions. Who was he? Why hadn't my lawyer mentioned anything? What did he have? Every hope I buried after tomorrow disappeared. After the plea deal, after the jury turned their backs, came crawling back up. The next morning, they shackled me again. Walked me into the courtroom like always. Jury was seated. Prosecution ready. I scanned the rows. He was there. Same seat. Same suit. Same calm stare. But this time, he stood up. And he spoke. "Your Honor," he said, voice clear and calm. "I have evidence that directly contradicts the prosecution's timeline." Gasps. A stir of movement. The judge banged her gavel. "Who are you? Sit down or be removed." The man stepped forward. "My name is Mason Vance. I used to be a cop, and I made a mistake." The courtroom had never been that silent. Not even when they showed Alicia Bennon's body photos. The moment Mason stood, everything changed. You could feel the jury shift. The judge leaned forward. "Mr. Vance, you are not on the witness list." "I know, Your Honor, but you need to hear this." My pulse slammed against my ribs. My lawyer sat stunned. I looked at Mason, heart thudding, barely breathing. "I was a detective assigned to the Benton case," Mason began. "Lead investigator for the first 48 hours. Back then, we were under pressure, heavy pressure, to close high-profile cases fast." He looked straight at the jury. A white woman killed outside a club. A city on edge. The department wanted a suspect. Not justice. A suspect. He paused, cleared his throat, and when a fingerprint came up from a man who'd been in the area, Mr. Jalen Price, they told me to close it. "Wrap it tight." "Did you believe Jalen was guilty?" the judge asked. Mason shook his head. "No, not even then. But I didn't fight it hard enough." Then his voice hardened. There was a tip. A confidential informant told me Alicia Bennon was meeting someone that night. A dealer, Trey Mendez, known to us. History of violence, especially with women. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Mason raised a hand. I reported it, but my superior said it muddied the narrative. Told me to bury it. So I did. "Mr. Vance, are you admitting to withholding evidence?" the judge asked, voice sharp. "I am," Mason said, steady, "and I've regretted it every day since. I left the force not long after. Couldn't live with myself." He turned to face me directly. Then I saw Jalen Price on the news. Trial starting. I knew if I didn't speak now, no one else would. He reached into his case and pulled out a flash drive. On this drive is GPS data from Trey Mendez's ankle monitor. He was on probation at the time. It shows he was near the alley where Alicia died, not Jalen. He clicked a remote. A screen flickered on. Footage played. Grainy, but clear enough to show a man in a black hoodie. A timestamp. 1:43 a.m. The alley. The body was found at 1:48. That video was sent to me by the same informant 2 days after the murder. Mason said. It never made it into the case file. I'm putting it there now. The courtroom exploded. Gasps. Shouts. Reporters scrambling for their phones. The judge slammed the gavel, voice thundering. Order. Order. She looked furious and shaken. We will adjourn immediately. I'm ordering a full investigation into this new evidence. Mr. Price's trial is suspended until further notice. They let me out before I could speak. Back into the holding cell. Same cold bench. Same iron door. But this time, the weight on my chest felt different. Not gone, but lifting. I sat down, blinked, stared at the wall. A single sentence played over and over in my mind. He told the truth. Someone finally told the truth. I walked out of court a free man, but not the same man who walked in. I didn't feel the sun at first, just the weight of the air. Real air, not recycled through concrete walls. People clapped. Cameras clicked. Reporters shouted. But all I heard was my own breathing. Tight, hollow, like I'd forgotten how to be free. After 11 months of cold floors, fluorescent lights, and dreams that always ended in a cell door slamming, I stepped out into the world again. But I wasn't the same man who walked in. Mr. Price. Jalen. How does it feel to be exonerated? Flashes burst in my face. Mics were shoved toward me. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. My mother's arms wrapped around me so tight, I thought I'd break. She whispered, I told you, baby. I told you God would send someone. I held her. I shut, try not to fall apart in front of a dozen cameras. Behind us, Mason Vance stood under a storm of press. They didn't thank him. They demanded to know why he'd waited so long, why he helped bury evidence, why he thought he deserved praise now. But Mason stood tall. I came forward because the system is broken, he said into the chaos. And I was part of it. But I'll testify. I'll name names. I'll make sure no other innocent man rots in a cell to protect the department's pride. They didn't want that story, but he told it anyway. Later, in a quiet room above a coffee shop, Tamara showed up. She looked nervous, dressed like she was going to church. Jalen, she started. I didn't know what to believe, but I never stopped. I held up a hand. You visited once, then disappeared. I needed someone. You weren't her. Her mouth opened, closed. She nodded. I understand. And then she left. No tears, no drama, just the ghost of what we used to be. That night, I sat across from a civil rights attorney in a navy suit and sharp glasses. She tapped a folder labeled, Price versus City of Hamilton. You were fail, Mr. Price. There will be accountability. I nodded. I don't want revenge. She smiled grimly. This isn't revenge. It's justice. For you. For every black man who fits a description more than he fits in this system. But even as we talked compensation and depositions, part of me was somewhere else. A graveyard. Wind moving slow through brittle trees. I walked alone between headstones until I found her. Alicia Bennon, beloved daughter. Taken too soon. I knelt, placed a white lily. I never knew you, I whispered. But I know what they used your death for. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it took so long. Footsteps crunched behind me. I stood fast, body still wired for prison tension. A man, maybe mid-30s, stepped forward. Leather jacket, sharp eyes, familiar sadness. She was my sister, he said. My throat clenched. I didn't. He held up a hand. I know. I believe you. Silence stretched. Then he said, let's talk. You've been through hell. So have we. Maybe we help each other start again. For the first time in nearly a year, I nodded without hesitation. Not because I trusted him yet, but because I wanted to. Here are some questions for you, our viewers. What would you have done if you were in Jalen's shoes? Take the plea deal or fight to the end? Do you believe the justice system can ever truly be fair for everyone? Why or why not? If a stranger saved your life like Mason did, how would you thank them? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section.